Let's build your sales funnel using 100% free software. Timestamps below, along with some other helpful links and resources we'll be referencing throughout this mega guide. Now, when it comes to the software we'll be using Systemi.io because you can create all of your funnel pages, your upsells, your checkouts, send automated emails, and create your membership website on their free plan, no 30-day or 14-day trial. Now, if you do decide to upgrade in the future, we receive a commission as a way to support this channel. And even if you stay on the free plan forever, you get to keep the free course and the funnel templates linked in the description. Now, once you set up your free Systemi.io account, you'll be able to log in, look at a dashboard similar to this, and you'll go ahead and go to funnels to set up your first funnel. Again, timestamps below to skip around. And you can see here we have a couple of funnels. You can go ahead and click on create, give your funnel a name. And once we give our funnel a name, we can go ahead and select the type of funnel that we'd like to set up. I'll go ahead and select sell. When it comes to the different types you have here, this is just to help you get started. You can always add funnel steps and completely change the type of funnel that you're creating. So don't feel like you're locked in and you're going to choose the wrong thing here. Now, when you copy the funnel linked in the description, you'll be able to see this exact same funnel inside of your Systemi.io account. So we'll use this as an example just to save time so you don't see me making 20 different pages here. To add pages though, you come down and click on create, you go ahead and give your page a name, and then you can select the type of page that you want to set up. Now this actually does really matter. So as an example, if you click webinar thank you page, you can't turn it into, let's say, a checkout page or upsell page down the road. So just keep that in mind when you're creating your pages. That's one of the few things that you can't really undo when it comes to creating your funnel steps. And of course, when it comes to the steps, you can easily click and drag to change where your different steps are. More on that when we get to upsells and reformatting our funnel. Now, here's a diagram of the funnel I recommend setting up when you're just getting started. And as with any good sales funnel, it all starts with your landing page. So on your landing page, you're going to offer something called a lead magnet. So your lead magnet is going to be a resource guide, a PDF, a template. It can even be a special video or webinar. I'll link in the cards in the description to a video that takes a super deep dive on all sorts of lead magnet ideas. The key here is your lead magnet is what makes your landing page successful, because no one's going to give you their contact information if they don't have a reason to. And so your landing page collects that contact information by promising your lead magnet. And then your first email in your automation sequence will just deliver that lead magnet and encourage them to actually consume it. So the whole point of a sales funnel is leading with value. So the sales actually comes later. First, we need to build some rapport, we need to build some goodwill, and we do that by saying, hey, give us your contact information so we can send you this awesome lead magnet. And then hopefully they find value in that lead magnet and they go, oh, this person can actually be helpful to me. And then your next 4 to 7 emails will be about your paid offer. So using something called a rapport sequence, you're going to build goodwill, you'll empathize with their situation, you're going to expand the dangers of not taking action, and of course you're going to energize people to actually take action, which is purchasing whatever your paid offer is that's on your sales page. So once someone opts into your email list, the first 5 to 7 emails they receive should drive all of the links should drive traffic to your sales page. Now, hopefully once someone's gone to your sales page, they decide, hey, you know what, I think this offer is going to be helpful to me, and then they click the link to go to your checkout. Now, let's be honest, most people will not, right? So we'll get to the broadcast sequence in a moment when the majority of the people say no. Now, for those select few that say yes on your checkout page, all we need to do is collect that payment information. That's it. Pretty much at this stage, we're just trying not to screw up the sale. And then once someone clicks enroll or submit or check out now, and you've collected that payment information, you're going to want to send anywhere from 2 to 3 more offers immediately. So softwares like Systemi.io, which is linked up in the description, allow you to give people the opportunity to purchase more products and services from you right after they've made a purchase from you. And this is a really powerful sales tactic. And this is really part of what makes this whole sales funnel process so powerful, is because you only have to collect that payment information information once, and then you say, hey, I have this that I think you should check out, and I have this that I think you should check out. And of course, most people won't take you up on those offers, but the few that do will dramatically increase your average transaction value. And then of course, once someone has said yes or no to your upsells, then you can go ahead and deliver your whatever your product is. And if you're using Systemi.io, like we recommend, you can set up a free membership website or however you want to deliver your products. And of course, you're going to send a onboarding sequence. And in these emails, you're going to encourage people to use the product, right? And then also you can grab some testimonials as well that will help you with your sales page. Now, going back to our broadcast sequence at the top here, most people won't purchase from you even after going through this entire process. And that's where you're going to drop them into a general broadcast sequence or a general broadcast list. And so this is going to be where you send emails a couple times a week, and every 3 to 4 emails you have a promotion. And this just pretty much goes on forever and ever and ever. It just perpetuates into the sun. And of course you can promote other offers and other sales funnels that you create in the future. And that is all there is to the funnel we are about to build inside of Systemi.io. So we will be going through every single step in detail. Now, the first step, of course, is going to be your landing page. Now, when it comes to creating your landing page, I highly recommend you do all your copywriting before you jump into the software. Now, if you already have all of your copywriting covered, awesome, that's great. Here's the timestamp to jump straight into Systemi.io to actually start building out your landing page. Now, when it comes to the copywriting and design of your landing pages, something that makes your landing page unique, and all your other funnel pages for that matter, is that there are no external links. And so people have 2 options: enter their email or leave, and that's it. So to get more people entering their email and less people leaving, we will use a proven copywriting framework called AIDA. It stands for attention, interest, desire, and action. So at the very top, we have our headline and subheadline or pre-headline, and this is going to be where we grab attention. We answer 2 important questions. Is this for me, and what's in it for me? So when someone hits your landing page, your headline should communicate whether or not they're in the right place and whether or not your lead magnet has something of value or allows them to break a roadblock or go through a result. More on the copywriting formulas in a moment and what those actually mean. Now, if you're not quite sure what your lead magnet should be, link in the cards in the description, of course, to a full-blown guide on how to actually create your different lead magnets along with different types of lead magnet ideas. Now, next we need to create interest, because most people who come to your landing page, they'll read your headline and they'll need a little bit more information before they decide to fork over their email. And so this is going to be where we have an image of whatever your lead magnet is and 3 or 5 bullet points, because odd number bullet points for some reason seem to convert better than even number. So if you want to have 3 bullet points or 5 bullet points, I'll leave it up to you. I like leaving it at 3. You're good to go here. And with these, you're just going to be expanding upon whatever was promised in the headline. Next, we need to build desire or create desire around your offer. And so with this, we need to include some trust seals like media appearances or testimonials. And at this point, most of us are saying, wait, I haven't appeared on any major media publications and I don't have a bunch of testimonials because I'm just getting started. So what do we do here? Well, we're always allowed to quote ourselves. It's a little cheesy, but it still works. So we'll go through a benefit formula you can use to quote yourself when it comes to building desire on your page. And then of course, driving action. So this is going to be where we ask for their email. You can ask for their name here, but as a general rule of thumb, the more information you ask for, the lower your conversion rates will be. So if you only need their email at this point, just ask for their email. You can always collect all that information later on in the process. And here's how the AIDA framework will play out on the landing page that we'll be building inside of Systemi.io. I'll link up in the cards in the description to a full-blown copywriting guide for your landing pages and the rest of your funnel as well, full of lots of different formulas and bullet point formulas, headline formulas, and the rest. So let's jump into Systemi.io here. Of course, I'm already in our example funnel. Link in the description to grab a copy of this. And of course, you can come down to click Create Step, and we can select Squeeze Page. So that's what they call landing pages. It's pretty interchangeable at this point. And then here is a quick preview of some of the templates that you'd have available to you inside of Systemi.io. Now, scrolling up here, I'm going to go ahead and use our template, which again, you can copy in the description. And before we start editing, here's a quick rundown of how to use the editor. So I'll click on settings here. By default, you can select the font and the font sizes. I recommend doing it here so that way you're not changing the font style and color every time you're making a new element. 2 fonts or less. I like having one font for my headings and another font for the rest of the text. So if you have more than 2 fonts, it tends to start to get a little busy and not look as nice. Now, coming down here, the other thing I want to point out is if you want to turn off this banner here, you can go ahead and select this. Now, there are some differences or restrictions if you're using the free plan on this, but if you decide to upgrade your account, you can go ahead and click this button and that little badge will no longer appear. So they automatically enroll you in their affiliate program when you sign up. So don't worry if someone clicks and signs up, you will actually get a check. It's not like some other softwares that just do that and then decide not to pay you. So that does it for the page settings. So let's go into the elements here. So our page is actually designed by laid out by sections and rows. And so you'll have different sections, which just represents the different main sections of your page. And then you organize your elements by rows. So as an example, if I click here, you can see that we are in one section and one row. So if you ever get confused on where you are, that's what this navigation up here tells us. And this is a split row. So we have one row for our lead magnet image and another row for our bullet points here. So I'll go through how to add these in a moment. Now, one more thing before we start going crazy is when you come over here and click on blocks, they actually have some pre-done blocks for you. So as an example, if we needed some testimonial blocks, we can go ahead and look at these, or go back and we need a feature image or some feature images. They have some here. So this can save you quite a bit of time on your landing page design. So I highly recommend going through these your first time just so you get a sense of what's already here, so you don't spend 30 or 40 minutes building something that was already set up for you. Now, when it comes to the spacing and the placement of different items on the page, you can go ahead and click and drag either an element or an entire row. So if I wanted to bring my bullet points over here, I just need to wait until I see this little blue line and drop it in, and you see now all our bullet points are on the side. So we'll go ahead and undo that because that looks terrible, but you can easily click and drag your sections, your rows, your images, everything on the page can be clicked and dragged over. Now, when it comes to, oh, come on, go back. There you go. Sometimes you have to wiggle with the mouse. I'm failing here. There we go. And I accidentally made another row because I was trying to get it back. So you will have a little bit of those, just user error. And then when it comes to your spacing, you're going to need to change. So I'll click on our section here. You're going to need to change the content width. And so I recommend doing wide or medium for all of your sections. And so like a giant screen like you're looking at back here, if we said full page, this means that our text would be stretched out the entire screen. And so what we need to do is make sure that what we're looking at is what other people see, irrespective of their screen size. So we'll go ahead and leave this at wide. And then when it comes to your, let's say your text here, and you want the text to be closer into the page, or you want to add spacing in between this text element and some other elements on the page, you're going to be using something called margin. And so if I went ahead and added top margin, you see that now we have a bunch of white space at the top. You can also have negative margin here. So if I go ahead and click down once, and let's say I do minus 500 here, or minus 100, 500 was too much, you'll see now that this element is going on top of the banner at the top. And so that's also how you can make things really, really close and centered. So we'll go ahead and leave that at 0. And then for your spacing right and left, you can go ahead and click and drag this, and you can make sure that then this can also help you center your text as well. So I'll go ahead and go back to 50 here. And that pretty much does it for moving things around and how you can actually get things in the place that you want. And so this is something that I really like about Systemi because it makes it very easy to get the page to look the actual way you want it to look. So that does it for the basics of moving things around, your options in the editor. To bring in a new element, all you have to do is click and drag it to where you want and drop it in. And of course, you can always move it to where you want on the page. So we'll go ahead and delete that since we don't want a countdown timer on our pages. And you can always click this little eye icon to preview your page. You do need to save changes though. Changes are not automatically saved. And when you exit, you'll see here, it's going to ask if I want to exit without making changes. So when you exit, it doesn't automatically save as well. So just be careful and make sure you save changes that you actually need before you go ahead and exit the editor. So I think with that, we have a good overview of how to play with all these elements. So let's go ahead, dive in. I somehow messed up our coloring here, and start with our headline. And of course, to save us some time, I have all the text written out in our sales funnel organizer. You can check that out in the link in the description if you're interested. And I'll scroll down to our example page here. So what I recommend for your headline is using this simple formula: how to result in the next time frame without roadblock. And so this is a very quick and easy way to clearly communicate what the lead magnet does and how it's going to help them overcome something that they are, or a problem that they're trying to solve in a very short period of time. So obviously your time frame is probably going to be in minutes or days, not necessarily months, weeks, or even years, because we need people to get an immediate win from downloading our lead magnet. So I'll go ahead and copy our text here. Even if you don't use our templates, again, I highly recommend do all your copywriting in a Word doc or Google Doc, whatever you want to use, pen and paper. Do all that before you get into your page builder. So all you have to do is copy, and then we'll go ahead and paste it in here. And you want to make sure that you don't have any spacing. So inside of this Word doc, just to make it look nice on camera, I went ahead and added some space here, right? So if you copy that text, if we copy this text again, you'll see that when we bring it in, it will have that line break. So you don't want that. You want to make sure that you copy it in without any spaces. So especially with your headlines, you never want to hit enter and have it look something like this. So I'll go ahead and highlight our text. We need to change the color. I've saved our color code here because I seem to always lose it when I edit systemi.io for some reason. That is one of the things that's been a little annoying. The text color goes away randomly. I haven't figured out what I'm doing wrong. So comment below when you figure out what you're doing wrong there. And then of course I had a space, so we'll go ahead and hit enter and we'll select it all. We'll unbold it and we'll just bold 3x your return on ad spend here. And just like that, we have our headline again. Now, if you don't like the way your headline is spaced out, instead of hitting enter, like let's say I want it to look like this for some reason, instead of doing that, what you need to do is select the text element. And just like what we talked about with margin, you need to change the margin on the right and left. The reason you need to do this is if you hit enter someplace randomly, it's going to look terrible on mobile. Now looks terrible now, but it's going to look even worse on mobile. And so you need to use the margins in order to tell the page that you always want it to be centered and you want the text to be squished so that when someone looks at it on a mobile device, it formats correctly. So as an example, if we come here and we do something like this, or we try and reformat it so it looks better on the mobile device. I'm doing a terrible job here, but let's say we want it to look like this on mobile, right? So now we come back to our desktop view and it looks like this. That looks terrible, right? And so then we go back and we do this, and now we go to mobile and it doesn't look the way we want. So just make sure that you adjust your margins right and left, and you can make custom margins on mobile as well so that things look correctly. Whoops. So if I wanted to do 40 and 40, and I wanted it to look like this on mobile, and then I wanted it to look like this on desktop, that's how you could set it up. So I probably spent way too much time on that, but that's how you make sure that you have one page and it looks good on both devices. So again, I forgot to mention, when I'm clicking this button down here, and then I'm making these changes, you'll see that there's a mobile icon. So now I can reformat the page based upon how it looks on a mobile device. So you definitely want to do that after you're happy with your Desktop view. Okay, way too much time. Let's get into our bullet points here. So when it comes to your interest building section, which is a picture of your lead magnet and learning, and then your bullet points, you'll go ahead and select the image icon. So you can go and drop the image icon here. You can change the image size, so you can make it smaller or larger. And of course, you can change the margin as well. You can change the way that it has been centered, or aligned. I'll take a deep breath here. And then also for your image options, you can also come down here and drop a shadow. Now, even though this is a PNG, and I'll do a far shadow, let's do a hard shadow. There we go. You'll see that it does a shadow around the entire element. So if you want to do any sort of shadows, I made this inside of Canva for free. You can go ahead and make those shadows in the actual image file and not use it here, because this looks a little funny because it's supposed to blend in with the white background. So I'll go ahead and take that away. You can also add a blur if you'd like to blur out part of your lead magnet to kind of build some secrecy or curiosity around whatever it is. So that's a great thing if you have a video lead magnet and you want to blur it out a little bit and it looks kind of cool because you have a diagram or something. So I'll go ahead and remove our shadow. And of course, when it comes to uploading your image, all you have to do is click upload, click and drag your files here, or select from images that you've already uploaded. So we'll go ahead and remove that for now. Now let's move on to our bullet points. So when it comes to copying over your bullet points, here are some basic bullet point formulas I recommend using. Again, link in the cards and the description, full-blown video on how to use all of these formulas and more. So jumping back down to our text here, I'll go ahead and copy our bullet point and then paste it in. So you do want to copy your bullet points in one by one. And I'll just do this second one just so you can kind of see how it works. Of course, you don't need to copy them in over again. And then I like to highlight or bold certain parts of our bullet points that tie into a specific result. So here, I'll go ahead and bold in eliminate wasteful clicks. And then let's say I want to do highest performing campaign structures or something like that. So when you're doing any sort of bolding, just make sure that it would make sense when someone's quickly just glancing through it, right? They're skimming, they're saying, oh, this eliminates wasteful clicks, gives me high performing campaigns, and I can craft high converting ads. Okay, got it. Like it's the super short version of your bullet points. So when it comes to editing your bullet points, I'll go ahead and drop in a new bullet. Oh boy, getting tongue twisted here. Let's just move on. So you can change the vertical spacing in between your bullet points here. You can also change the icon size. You can, of course, change the icon color. So let's say we wanted red for some reason. Now, don't go crazy with your colors, right? 2 or 3 colors max. Otherwise, if we did red here, then your eye's attention would go to the bullet points as opposed to the headline or your call to action button. So we don't want to ever distract from our call to action, which we'll get to in a little bit here. So now that we have our bullet points here, there we go. Sorry for that cut. We can choose different icons. So let's say we wanted a unicorn for some reason, then you could have unicorn. So there are a lot of different options here. Just make sure that you don't choose something that's going to be distracting, right? So there are a lot of great options, but make sure, of course, it makes sense in the context of your niche and that it's not distracting. So let's say we were a lawyer here. So that would make sense if we were doing legal stuff. So I'll go ahead and delete that example here. So that does it for the interest part of your page. Now at the very end, if you don't have testimonials, then you'd go ahead and quote yourself. So here is a quick little formula I recommend using when you're quoting yourself. You just talk specifically about how this lead magnet or a certain aspect of the lead magnet allowed you to achieve a result that your ideal customer is looking for. And that's it. So even though you're quoting yourself, you're still talking about their pain points, their roadblocks, their experiences, and you're tying it into essentially saying, hey, I struggled with the same problem, and that's why I came up with this awesome thing that I think is going to help you solve those problems and achieve those roadblocks. And that's it. Now, when it comes to your image, you do need to format it as a circle in whatever editor you use. I just used the free version of Canva to create it in a circle, so that's not something you're going to be able to do in the editor. So of course, we just go ahead, copy our text, and drop it in here. So that does it for our desire section. And of course, if we wanted to change how this looked, we could go ahead and click and drag. And if we wanted it to be a little more even, I'm just clicking and dragging the row. So of course, you have a lot of control over how that looks. Now, before we go ahead and round out the landing page and get to our confirmation page, quick note, you should probably, and I'm saying probably because this is in no way, shape, or form legal advice, you should probably have some sort of legal disclaimers or links to your privacy policy, earnings disclaimer, or terms of use. Advertising platforms like Google and Facebook do actually require you to have some things down there. Of course, again, I'm not a lawyer, so I can't tell you what you should or shouldn't do. I should just say that you should probably look into that, especially if you're going to be driving paid traffic. Now, I realize I completely skipped over the most important part, and that is actually your call to action button here. So your driving action. So when it comes to creating an opt-in form, it's a little different here. You're not going to see an opt-in form element. You're just going to see the pieces of that element. So as an example, we can go ahead and click and drag in this input form element. And when we click on it, we can select the type. So let's say we want to collect our first name, and we can change the preview text that appears here. Of course, we can change the typography and colors as well. And then when it comes to submitting the form, you need to add a button element and you have to format it to submit the form. So this is where it gets a little confusing. And this is also why it's important that you choose the right type of page template because it's doing work for you in the background. So I'll go ahead and click on button here, and I can click and drag the button in. And of course, we don't want it to go to the next step. We want it to send a form. And so when we click send a form, and this way Systemi.io knows when someone clicks this button, the form is supposed to be submitted. And then you of course want it to go to the next step, which will be your confirmation page or your one-time upsell page, but more on that in a little bit here. So we'll go ahead and delete that. And our landing page is complete. So we'll go ahead and hit preview here so we can see a preview of our completed page. So we grabbed attention with our headline. Of course, we'd probably play with the spacing. So add spend just doesn't sit there awkwardly. So this is where you want to play with the spacing and the preview so it doesn't look strange like this. And then of course we have our bullet points, a picture of our lead magnet, collecting their first name and their email. Ideally, just collect their email. You really don't need to collect name. And of course, a self-quote and legal disclaimers if you decide to do that. And so that does it for building out your page. Again, link in the description to grab a copy of this template along with all of our funnel templates here. So we'll go ahead and exit, and it's going to ask us if we want to save. We'll go ahead and say yes, because I totally forgot to hit save after I told you how important it was to hit save. And before we jump over to our confirmation page to grab a link for your landing page, all you need to do is click this button and you'll get your URL. And of course, if you want a custom URL, you can do that inside of your account settings right here. So let's go ahead and jump into your thank you page. Now, in the funnel template linked up in the description, we have two different versions. We'll have a normal thank you page, and then we'll also have a one-time offer thank you page. So we'll go through our one-time offer so you can see both. So I'll go ahead and click on edit page here. So your normal thank you page is going to look something like this. You show a picture of your lead magnet, and of course, you want to swap out whatever the email address that your lead magnet is going to be sent from. So this way people know what email address to search for, because we might wind up in promotions or spam, right? That's just part of email marketing. Or we could create a one-time offer right here. So people who opt in, we say, hey, you got your lead magnet, awesome. Check out this new paid offer. And with this paid offer, I'm talking a little fast here because I'm getting excited. With this paid offer, you need it to be $25 or less. And so this is a mini sales page, and you can actually go ahead and try and make a sale right here and now because you already have their name and email address and you can follow up with them. This, of course, is going to be different than whatever your primary offer is in your email sequences driving traffic to your sales page. So this is just kind of like an impulse buy, if you will. So inside of our templates, you'd either use this one or you would use this top one. And of course, you're free to choose whichever templates you want to use. Both will be inside of the free template bundle linked up in the description. So with that, we're actually ready for our sales page. So we've collected that contact information. We're going to deliver that lead magnet via the email automations that we'll get to later in this really long guide. Again, timestamps below to skip around to what you need. Let's get started with your sales page. So for our sales page, we're going to be using the ADA framework, which hopefully you're also using on your landing pages. So we're going to grab attention with our headline. We will build interest with a short form video sales letter using the Hawk formula. More on that in a moment. Then we're going to, of course, continue to build interest with 3 or 5 bullet points because odd number bullet points seem to convert better for some reason. And then, of course, we're going to create desire using testimonials, or we'll have to quote ourselves if we don't have testimonials yet, more on a formula to use that particular strategy. And then, of course, we're going to drive action. That is, click the link to go to the checkout page or start the checkout process if you want to create a pop-up. And here's a quick preview of how these elements are going to play out on our own sales page template. Now, if you want to skip all of the copywriting and jump straight into Systemi.io and build out the template, here's the timestamp to do that. Otherwise, let's go ahead and get started with our headline. So grabbing attention is going to be your headline, your pre-headline, and your sub-headline. Now, most of the time, you're only going to have one or the other. You're not going to have a pre-headline and a sub-headline. Just go ahead and choose whichever one you want. For your subheadline, I recommend using your unique selling proposition, and your pre-headline using some sort of enrolling statement to call out who specifically your offer is for. And then, of course, we have your main headline. So jumping into our sales funnel organizer here, I like using curiosity style headlines for our sales pages. And so here's a formula you can use for yourself. The power word, way to result without roadblock. So you want to position it as something that they may have not have seen of before or heard of before. Now, let's go ahead and go through an actual example of how we came up with this headline that ultimately made it on our page template. So I'll come down here and let's go ahead and make things a little bigger. Let's get rid of that. So we have our headline, and this is how I like to do copywriting for most of our pages because I am a great amateur copywriter. So here we go. The power word, way to result without roadblock. And so what I do is I just make a list of anything and everything that could possibly fit there. So the proven, new, best, unbelievable, secret, little known, unbelievable, right? So I said unbelievable twice. That's unbelievable. So any sort of way to add some oomph to way instead of just saying the way to get what you want without all the things that you hate, right? That's essentially what we're saying. We need to dress it up a little bit. We need to be a little more salesy. So in this particular instance, I wound up going with proven, and then I say way to, and then I just list out all the results that someone who wants to be successful running a Facebook ads campaign, that's going to be our example here, would want to achieve. So they want more leads, they want more followers, they want better campaigns, they want to stop wasting their budget, and just list everything out. Don't worry about grammar here. Just list any result that they're looking for that your offer actually delivers. And then, of course, you have to choose one. Here, we just said designing winning campaigns. Any one of these other ones could have worked too. And hey, marketing is all about testing anyway, so I don't know which one's going to work best. And then we say without. So we think of, all right, they want this result. What do they think, not what we think, what do they think is getting in the way of achieving the results that they want? And so we could think they have to make new ads, they have to increase ad spend, they have to spend months of testing, months of trial and error, and that's ultimately what we went with here, months of trial and error. And so this is how I take a simple formula that looks like this and apply it to whatever our client or our own internal funnel is. And so, or I should say headline is. I'm getting tongue twisted here. All right. So if we scroll back up here, then we have our ultimate headline, which is the proven way to design winning campaigns without months of trial and error. So succinct to the point. And so that's all there is to it, to writing out your headlines. write a lot. Sometimes what I like to do is I will just set a watch for 15 minutes and I will just write as many as I can in those 15 minutes. Like, and don't worry about spelling, don't worry about grammar, just get all the ideas out, because we could go test this and find out that this is a terrible headline and one of the other ones I rejected ultimately wound up being the best. So that's how we grab attention. Now, the next part is, of course, that interest element. So coming over to our template here, these are 3 bullet point formulas that you can copy for yourself for your own sales page. And the whole point here is to give some more information about what specifically your offer is and how it helps them. So we need to avoid the absolute trap of listing out a bunch of features. Like, it has this many modules, it has this many lessons, or if it's a physical product, it has this little widget, it has that little widget. Oh my gosh, it's the version 3.0. Like, people don't care, right? They care about the results and they care about the roadblocks that it breaks. So coming down to our brainstorm again here, just bear with me. Let's go ahead and go through an example of how we could take one of these bullet points and again, turn it into something that's related to our actual offer. So here we have peek behind the curtain at our proven power word mechanism so you can result. And then we go through the exact same process used for coming up with our headline, and we just list out everything that might work. Oh my gosh. Proprietary, unique, highest performing, battle tested, secret, profitable. So these are normally pretty generic. So you can go ahead and copy these for yourself as well. It's not like there's trademark or copyright on any of these words. And then the mechanism, this is where you want to dress up what your offer actually does by giving unique names to something that's seemingly boring. So as an example, we're using the AIDA framework for our sales letter, right? So instead of saying something like sales letter formula, we call it the AIDA framework, right? And so we're just giving a name to something that's inside of our offer. So as an example, we could say the Canvas technique, and that's just saying how to create ad images, or the PAS2 framework, which is just how to write ads, problem, agitate, solve, which is another formula you could use for your sales letter. Or golden spin ratio is just how to budget ad spend, right? So one of the things that you can do here when creating these bullet points and you're trying to think of unique mechanisms and way to kind of add some curiosity and secrecy to what you're ultimately providing, and of course create some excitement around it, is to just list out how to do this, how to do that, how to do XYZ, and then how can you come up with a name for that method, technique, strategy, formula, whatever it, or tactic, whatever it might be. And then we get into so you can. And this is where you want to think about, all right, so they can learn how to create ad images or write better ads or manage their ad spend better. What does that allow them to do? And this is where we go from features to benefits. So this is really important. You have to have so you can or allows you to in order to translate part of our offer into something that people actually care about, because people only care about what your offer allows them to do or enjoy at the end of the day. They don't really care how it does it, right? And so here we can say, so you can copy them for yourself, insinuating that it's your life just becomes easier, or double your return on ad spend. You get more results than you're getting now. Maximize your ad spend. You get more results than you're getting now with the same ad spend that you have, or just build winning campaigns in minutes. And that's ultimately what we went with for our bullet point here. And so I'll link up in the cards in the description to a much deeper dive video that actually goes through all of these bullet point formulas and more. This was just kind of a quick overview of how you can use these formulas and my personal process for using bullet point formulas and headline formulas to quickly come up with my own copy. Now, when it comes to the second last element on your sales page, which is creating desire, ideally, we would have some testimonials. But if you don't, then you can just go ahead and quote yourself, and you can talk about how this product made a positive impact on your life. So just like it's important with your headlines and your bullet points, you don't want to talk about you. and you don't want to talk about your product. You want to focus on how this product made a positive impact in your life. So the more personal you can get with this, the better, as opposed to just saying, I ran better Facebook ads, right? Well, okay, well, why did that actually matter? I ran better Facebook ads, so I didn't have to, fire this person on my team, or I didn't have to shut down my business. Obviously, those are really dramatic, but when you can tie it into an actual personal experience of yours that might be a similar situation as your ideal customer, you're going to be able to build a lot more goodwill and rapport because you're showing that you're empathizing and you understand the situation that they might be in. Of course, after saying all that, having real testimonials from other people, even if they're just testimonials of you personally, is going to be much, much better than quoting yourself. And finally, before we get into the Hawk formula for our short form video sales letter, you have your call to action button. And so this is just going to be a button that links over to your checkout page or brings up a pop-up of your checkout process. And so that does it for the ADA framework, of course, applied to your sales page. Again, if you want to skip through this copywriting part, or you just not interested in making a short form video sales letter using the Hawk formula, here's the timestamp to jump into systemi.io to actually build out the page and edit the template. So I'll quickly scroll all the way down here, and this is a simple formula I recommend you use for a 3 to 7 minute sales video. So you're not making a 2.5 hour webinar here. You're making a very quick video that's designed to hook your ideal customer in. You're going to demonstrate some authenticity, deliver a mini style workshop, and of course, kickstart them into taking action. So here's a quick breakdown of how this formula works. First, we need to hook them in. And so this is going to be the first 90 seconds of your video, 90 seconds or less. You'll ask an open-ended and rolling question that has to do with a struggle or roadblock that they're dealing with in their life. And of course, as we present this problem, we want to expand on it. We want to agitate it a little bit. And so to agitate this problem, we want to talk about how things can actually get worse if they don't solve it, or how things are actually worse now and they just haven't thought about the consequences of this problem still being present in their journey to whatever success or result that they're ultimately looking for. And then once we move through that, we go into a quick authenticity section. So 90 seconds or less, like 60 seconds maximum, because we've all been on those webinars where the person drones on for 10 minutes how they had all this money, then they lost the money, they were homeless, they were in this terrible situation, all their friends hated them, and then they found this magical formula on the street, and now they have all the money in the world, and they have yachts and mansions and fancy cars. Nobody buys that anymore, right? We all know that's bunk. You don't have to do that. I don't have to do that to ethically sell products online, okay? So when it comes to this particular section, you're just going to do a quick humble brag. You're going to say who you are, you're just introduce yourself, and then 1 or 2 results that you've achieved and that pertains to whatever your offer is, right? And then move on, right? You don't need this crazy rags to riches story. You don't have to be overly dramatic. You just say, hey, my name is XYZ, and I've achieved ABC, and I think this offer is really going to help you enjoy the same, benefits and results that I've been able to enjoy in my life as well. That's it. That's literally it, which moves on to solve, right? So your authenticity is actually going to lead into solving the problem for them. And of course, what's the solution? Well, your paid offer, of course. So inside of the solution, you actually want to provide 2 to 3 golden, what I like to call golden nuggets, right? And this actually comes out of the copywriting books or practices from Frank Kern. And that is making sure that you deliver real value in this video. So as an example, we have a short form video that follows this exact formula selling our Google Ads campaign builder. And inside there, we actually give away our formula for success when it comes to evenly rotating ads and changing out our ad copy. So I won't get too much into that. That's all you need to know. And so if someone walks away and doesn't purchase that product, they still got our formula. They still got the what to do, right? So when you want to focus on is someone walks away, they still know what to do. They might not know all the steps because you're not going to do that in a 5-minute video, but they have enough where they go, oh, okay, that's how I would go about doing that. And that's all we need to do with the workshop section of our video. And so this is going to be the bulk of it, probably 3 minutes or less. And then of course, you need to include some proof if you didn't do so already in authenticity. And then if you can demonstrate how the offer can help solve some of their problems, go ahead and do that. And finally, you wrap up with telling them exactly what to do next, which is click the link below to enroll now, or click the link below to get started today, or something like that. And that's all you need to do with your short form VSL. You don't even have to show your face on camera. As you see in this example, all of our sales letters are actually like this because it's really hard to memorize a script, let alone make a YouTube video like this one. So go ahead and just use plain text slides, and that's all you need for your video. So let's jump over to systemi.io and start building out our sales page. So when you grab the template linked in the description, of course, you'll have a version for a video and a version for just text. So I'm going to go ahead and delete the version of text, and we'll just work on the version for video. So we'll go ahead and drop that in. Now, the build out process is pretty much the same. Of course, hopefully you've written all your copy before you've gone into the page builder, so your copy winds up being a lot better. And all you have to do is select the text and copy paste things in. So we won't go too deep dive into clicking and dragging everything. And of course, you still have your standard page settings for your typography. And of course, do make sure that you come down here and check or uncheck if you want the badge to appear. So you do have to do that on every single page. Now, I quickly want to go over something that is new here, and that is the countdown timer. So something you can do to create some urgency around your offer, which is a very powerful double-edged sword, which we'll get to in a little bit here, is set a time frame for someone who comes to your page. And so all we did here is I'll click out so we can click and drag a new one in so you can see all the settings. We'll go ahead and click and add a countdown timer here. So when we click the countdown timer, you have some options. You can do a fixed date and time, which I am not really a fan of, but if you're doing a launch, then that's perfect. You can do a delay or daily. Now, daily, this is where the timer will reset each day, right? So if someone comes at 12 o'clock, they're going to see 12 hours left. If someone comes at 11:59, they're going to see 60 seconds left on the clock, right? I don't recommend doing this because this is false urgency, right? It's just going to reset every day, and then people aren't going to take your countdown timers seriously in the future, and it's going to hurt your future conversions. But so what you can do is click same as deadline funnel settings. So we'll get to that in a moment. And what this will do is it will add a cookie. So when someone comes to this particular page, you'll set a particular number of days, not hours, days, that someone will be able to take this offer. And then after that, the page will automatically redirect to a different one. So this is definitely something that you can test out in the future. I wouldn't recommend starting with it, but it is a really cool feature inside of systemi.io, and urgency really is great at driving action. So I'll go ahead and exit the page. Yes, I want to save. I always forget to click save. And we will go to deadline settings. So this is where you're going to set up the countdown timers across your entire funnel. So we'll go ahead and click on enable here, and we'll say we give people 2 days. And then what you can do is you can select the pages in your funnel that this deadline should apply to. So if you have a countdown timer on multiple pages, especially if you're doing something like a launch, then you can go ahead and select all of the pages that the countdown timer should be connected to. So if you have more than one page with the timer on it, then all the times are going to be the same, irrespective of when someone comes. So really cool. So we'll go ahead and click on save. Now, what is important here also is you also need to set a step for when the countdown timers expire. So let's say, for instance, this is set at 2 days, and person A shows up on Monday. Well, then by Wednesday, they're going to be redirected to this page. Person B shows up on Tuesday. 2 days later for them is going to be Thursday. So then they will be directed to this page on Thursday. So it's going to be unique for each person. It's an evergreen countdown sequence. Really cool. So here's a quick preview of the sorry page that we have inside of the template linked in the description below. And of course, you can always modify and edit this page to look a whole lot nicer, or you can direct people to another offer that is full price, right? So that's something that we do in our funnels as well. Although a simple page like this, just letting people know, hey, sorry, it expired, is a really good way to go. Now, one final note before we move on to your checkout page, this is a double-edged sword. You will get people who ask you for the discount even though the timer's expired. And if you want your timers to work in the future, you have to say no. So the more you cave now, the weaker your countdown timers are going to be in the future. You have to train people in your audience, in your list, your customers, that when you make a countdown timer, it's serious. It doesn't matter what other people are doing. Other funnels can do whatever they want. But if you want your urgency to actually work with this offer and all your future ones, I recommend that you stick to your guns and stick to the countdown timers that you create. So I'll get off that soapbox. Let's go ahead, and now that we've created our sales page, it's time to talk about our checkout page. Now, when it comes to your checkout pages, we only have one job. Don't screw up the sale, right? Someone's seen a sales email, they've seen a sales letter, they're coming from some sort of source, and they just need to enter their credit card information and move on to hopefully an upsell process. That's it. We don't want any fancy designs. We don't want to introduce anything new. We are just trying not to screw up here. And to do that, we'll be using the STAR framework. It's silly, but hey, I was trying to come up with an acronym for this. So we need secure seals, we need trusting testimonials, we need all access, and we need risk removal. So we'll go through each one of these elements and how to include them on your own checkout page. And if you want to skip ahead to building inside of Systemi.io, here's the timestamp to do that. Now, first up, we have security, which is the most important part of this entire process. If you do nothing else, just make sure your page looks secure. Someone's coming to this page, they have their credit card in hand, hopefully, and they're looking around the page and saying, am I about to get scammed? Am I about to get a bunch of spam emails, right? So number one, we just want to say, hey, your information's secure. So we're not going to share your information. We're not going to sell your information. You can literally just say that. And then you also want to have some sort of icon, or if you can have a third party that's verified that whatever this checkout page is encrypted. Now, if you're using Stripe, you're pretty much guaranteed to be encrypted. So you can also make some icons inside of Canva, like you can see here, where we just have a thumbs up and some stars, a guarantee, and then of course, if you don't have a guarantee, don't include that obviously, and then of course a icon to show that the page is actually, the payment processing is actually encrypted. Now, something else that will help a lot is having credit card logos. For whatever reason, people like seeing their credit card logo on the page. So go ahead and include those. Systemi.io also includes several by default, but in the page template linked up in the description, we just created a quick graphic in Canva that has several as well, including PayPal, but of course, only include PayPal if you actually take PayPal. Now, the second element is going to be T for trust testimonials. So we need to, of course, to build trust. Now, if you don't have testimonials, that's okay. Most of us don't. But if you do, go ahead and include short text testimonials here. I see some sales pages where they have video testimonials. Personally, as a conversion standpoint, I think that distracts from someone actually completing the form. We just want them to quickly glance over there, get that little sense of trust, and like, okay, someone over here has said that this works, so I'm going to trust it, as opposed to watching like a 10-minute testimonial instead of completing the checkout. If you have testimonials that you used in your emails, in your ads, or on your sales page, it's okay to repeat them here. It's totally okay. You don't have to have new testimonials. And so that's all you need to do with building additional trust here. Now, next, you're going to want to make it clear exactly what someone's getting access to. So if you offered bonuses in your sales letter, include a list of those bonuses here. If it's just one implementation program, or it's one product or service, just include a summary of what they're about to get here, and include whatever image you use to represent your offer. Use that image again here. Again, we don't want anything new. We don't want any surprises. Nothing should be a surprise on this page. We're just restating whatever your sales emails or your sales letter has already communicated to them. So that's all there is to all access. Just make it clear you're getting exactly what you think you're getting here. And then finally, we want to remove the risk. So if you have the ability to offer a 14-day free trial or any sort of money back guarantee, go ahead and do that. Now, a quick side note, if you're doing anything with digital products, just put a 30-day money-back guarantee, because if someone wants to call up their credit card company and do a chargeback, credit card companies almost never take the side of digital products. So if you're selling a course, you're selling some sort of template, and someone calls up their credit card company and says, I want my $10 or $15 back, and you try and spend literally days fighting with the credit card company over a couple $100, number one, it's not worth your time, and number two, most of the time you'll still lose the case anyway. So you might as well just give the guarantee, increase your conversions, and they're bad actors everywhere. They're someone who's going to ask for a refund or issue a chargeback. Doesn't matter what your guarantee is, they're going to do it anyway. So you might as well just include a guarantee. And if chargebacks, you're like, what the heck is that? That's just when a customer of yours calls up the credit card company and says you scammed them. And because you're selling products online, they'll just go with the customer and not necessarily you. It doesn't matter how many screenshots of your sales page that you send. Okay, so I'll get off that soapbox. Let's jump into Systemi.io and actually start building out your checkout page. So I'm inside of our funnel template here on the checkout page. Let's go ahead and click edit. I probably spent way too much time on that. I'm sorry. It is just such a headache going through those chargeback things. So I want you to avoid that. Now, when it comes to the page building, it's relatively the same as all your other pages. The main difference here being, if we come down to payment, you'll see there are a bunch of payment icons here. And so these are all the payment elements for checkout pages. So you have to select the checkout page template when you're creating your page for the first time in order to see all of these. So I'm using a two-step form here. This pretty much looks like it's straight out of ClickFunnels, and that's totally okay because ClickFunnels has proved that this two-step checkout is really, really powerful. So I'm glad they have it. And then to edit the second part, you click on the checkout page element here, and we'll click on step number 2. I'll go a little slower because I got a little excited there. And then you'll see that these are all of the elements that are included already. There's an order bump. We'll get to that in a moment. So first, we'll go ahead and start with our form fields here. So if you want an extra form field, you can just click and drag and go ahead and describe or tell the software what the form field is supposed to be. So I'll go ahead and delete that. Now, when it comes to selling digital products, if you don't need their shipping address, don't ask for it. You don't need it. So in this particular instance, we're selling an implementation program. So we'll go ahead and just delete all of these fields that we don't actually need. So we don't need shipping. So we'll just go ahead and delete them. And through the power of editing, we've removed all the fields that we don't need. First name, last name, email. Just like your landing pages, the more information you ask for, the lower your conversion rates will ultimately be. And so this is all the information you need here. So we'll go to step number 2, and here you need the offer price element and you need the payments method element. So if we come down to payment and we go to our, well, not our payment button, but we'll come to payment method, we'll click and drag that in. So this is a standard block that you're going to need in order to collect payments. Here's an example in the preview of what this looks like to the person who's actually checking out. So it'll actually show areas for someone to enter their credit card information. So back over to our page here, I'll go ahead and delete that extra element. Okay. And then you need to also display your offer price. And so you'll set up your pricing in the page settings, which we'll get to in a moment. But for now, just make sure that you have your offer price and you have your payment methods. Finally, we have order bumps. So you'll see over here, we have an order bump. We can just go ahead and click and drag that in anywhere we want. So we'll click and drag that in. And oh, this is something extra that we added. So I'm going to go ahead and delete that, but you can keep it there if you're using PayPal. So we'll go ahead and remove that. Okay. And it's just an image we made in Canva. And then for your order bump, this is where you can have someone just click this little click this little box. There we go. They'll click this little box and whatever you're offering will be added to their order. And so the membership access that you set up or the shipping information, if you're doing a physical product, because you can do that here, will be set up in your backend settings. So here, if you decide to do an order bump, just go ahead and make sure that you make it clear what the price is on the actual page and triple check that what you put in your pricing settings is the same as what you show here. Because credit card companies are not very nice. And the last thing you need is your payment processor suspending you because you messed up on the pricing on an order bump. So that's all there is to editing this particular part. Now, before we get into the pricing plans, I do recommend having your order bump $30 or less because we want this to be an impulse buy. We've all been to the grocery store and there's candy and magazines everywhere, right? And you went in for one thing and you're like, oh, maybe I'll just grab this quick Tic Tac, or I'll grab this quick Snickers, or whatever it might be, right? That's essentially what we're doing here. So it's a grocery store checkout line, right? So it needs to be an impulse buy. So I'll go ahead and exit out of here, and we'll go ahead and set up our pricing settings. So when we come down here, we need to look at pricing plans. So we'll go ahead and click add a pricing plan. You can select from a plan you've already made, or you can go ahead and create a new one. So let's say I want to set up a subscription. So we'll go ahead and click on subscription here, and I'll click on create new, give our subscription a name, and then also give it the plan a name and a statement descriptor. So I'll start from the bottom. Statement descriptor. This is what shows up on someone's credit card statement. So be as incredibly plain and boring and descriptive as possible. So if you're selling a digital product or course, just say whatever the product, whatever the topic is in course. That's it. You definitely don't want to be fancy or salesy at all here. Now, when it comes to the pricing plan, this is going to show up on the page. So just normally you just name this whatever the product is and call it good, or you could be a little sneaky and say discount. So just insinuate that it's a discount, of course, spell discount right? Gee whiz. And then of course, go ahead and give it a internal descriptive name. And for the type, you can be a one shot here, and we just say whatever the cost is, or we could create a subscription. And then we could also add a trial period. So we could say 14-day trial. And then after that, it's $27 every month, quarter, week, or year. Now I'm not going to click save here, because once you create this, you can't actually delete pricing plans. So for whatever reason, I'm sure there's a good one, you can't delete any pricing plans that you set up. So go ahead and make sure that you set this up correctly the first time. And then if you need to change it in the future, you're just gonna have to make a new one. So I'm going to go ahead and exit out of here and click on pricing plans again. And this time I'm just going to choose the one that we already have set up. So you see here, there's no way to edit this. So once you create your pricing plan, you're locked in, that's it, right? So we'll go ahead and click on save. And so now when we if we were to go preview the page as a live person, this is the pricing plan that would show up. And of course, you can create multiple pricing plans as well if you want to do like a split pay versus just a one-time fee. And then of course, if you had an order bump, you do need to make sure that you add it. So you'll see here, bump price plan. It's telling us, hey, you need to come up with one. So we can go ahead and choose a price plan. Let's say it's a one shot here, and I'm just going to choose the same one over again just to save us some time. And then we're all set with our pricing. And if you are going to use Systemi.io to deliver your products, then you'd come over here to resources, and you'd go through the drop-down menu and select what kind of course or tag or product you want people to have access to. And of course, you can also drip content as well. So I'll go ahead and remove that because that's not what people should have access to. And once you're done with everything here, make sure to click save. So once you click save, your checkout page is complete and ready to go. And now let's quickly talk about your confirmation page. And so we'll go ahead and jump into our template here. Not a whole lot that you want to do here. Just make it really clear how they get whatever it is they just paid for. So you can see here our customized orders complete. Optionally, if you do upsells, this is something I like to do. And then of course, let them know the checkout process is complete. Their order details are below. When you select the proper template, so where we are using the order confirmation template, you'll see here that we have, okay, sorry for the cut, there it is. We have the order summary. So if we click and drag this in here, this is pretty much the only element that you absolutely have to have on the page. And this is where it summarizes their order. So if you wound up creating upsells as well, those will show up here. So we'll go and delete that. Now the key to this page is, to, like I said, just make sure that they know where to go to get what they need. Now, if you set up a membership site using Systemi.io, then an email will automatically go out to them. So just let them know an email is on the way, and then make sure that you, again, tell them what email your emails are going to be coming from. That was a really weird way to say that. Put your email address here so they know what email address to look out for to get the information that they need. And of course, if you have any sort of Facebook group or you have a social media channel you want them to check out, you can have a link to that here. Or if you want to try and push them into another sales funnel or another offer, you could go ahead and include that here, or you can just go ahead and delete all of those sections. So typically I don't really use any of those, so I'll just go ahead and delete those, but they're in the template here for you to use. So let's go ahead and delete that. And our order page, confirmation page is all good. Go ahead and exit, and now our confirmation page is complete. And really our funnel is ready to start getting some email automations set up. So if you're still watching, this has been a crazy long one, hit that like button. Let me know in the comments you are on your way to being a funnel building champion. So up next, optionally, we have creating upsells. So if you don't have upsells, you don't want to deal with upsells, here's the timestamp to jump straight over to the email marketing section. Otherwise, let's make some upsells. Now, when it comes to upsells, there are two things that we need to do. Number one, we absolutely never want to diminish the value of what we just did on the sales page and the checkout page. Whatever offer they just purchased should not be diminished or tarnished in any way. And then number two, which is going to sound repetitive, we want to position this as the logical next step. So we really want to make sure that they are separate. This is our upsell, this is our main offer, and they are separate. Now here are 3 rapid fire ideas for your upsell offers. I'll link up in the cards and the description to a super deep dive video that goes through all different types of upsell offers and including some upsell math that explains why these are so important to the success of your funnel. So of course, number 1, it could be a logical next step. So you could sell some sort of template, resource packet, tool bundle, or another course or workshop that is going to help someone achieve another result. So it does need to be different than whatever your primary offer was, or it could be related. If our primary offer example here is about Facebook ads, then we could have something about landing pages or funnel building or email marketing, right? Something related, but we wouldn't give them another Facebook ads course if they just bought a Facebook ads course. Number 2, we could offer some sort of subscription. Of course, this could be insider information. And number 3 could be a mastermind where they get to join in and ask you questions directly, or you create some sort of private exclusive group of people who are actively working to achieve the same result. Again, link in the cards in the description to more ideas, just kind of rapid firing through a couple that you could use. So now let's go through the conversion anatomy of your upsell page. And I like to think of it as an extra long ad. So at the very top, we're going to grab attention and make it really clear that the checkout process is still in progress. We need to design this page as if someone's never been through an upsell process before. That's really important. Make it crystal clear. Hey, checkout's still going. Don't exit out. Don't refresh the page. You're going to mess things up. And then, of course, a headline that clearly communicates the new roadblock or the new offer that you have for your customer. We'll go through a formula for this in a moment. Actually, 2 headline formulas for that. Then we're going to have a simple upsell video using the problem, agitate, solve framework. More on that in a little bit. And of course, we'll build interest with some bullet points and have a call to action to add whatever we're offering to their order or upgrade their order if you're offering some sort of service. So let's go ahead and jump into the first aspect here, and that is grab attention, because the top of your page here, we need to make it crystal clear that our checkout process is still open. It's still going. So don't exit out, don't refresh. I know I'm saying that twice, but I'm saying it twice because it is so important. So if you decide to use our template, of course, the elements are already there for you. If you're designing your own, go ahead and follow a format similar to this one. And then for our headline, we actually have 2 different examples. So jumping over to a sales funnel organizer here, the first example we have is access copy get mechanism, we'll get to that in a moment, to result, or power word verb and result. So let's go ahead. Obviously you're looking at that like that doesn't really make any sense at all. So we'll come down here and go through the sales copy process. So access copy get, this is the more basic version of the 2, and then we'll just give a name to whatever it is we're offering. So in this particular instance, we'll say we have some sort of collection of Facebook ads that we think would be valuable to people who just bought a Facebook ads course or implementation program. So here we just call it Facebook ads library, or get your competitors ads, ultimate swipe file, new funnel templates. And what's interesting about this is I've actually changed what was inside of offer to make the headline look better. So if you come up with a headline and you go, wow, I really like that, but the offer doesn't have that. Well, see if you can just add it, right? Because as long as you're not lying, it's totally ethical to say, yeah, we just added this in there because it made the headline sounded better. So fun with marketing and digital products, right? Obviously a physical product, that's a little harder to do. And then what we want to do is talk about the result that this allows them to enjoy. So we have access to the Facebook funnel library to steal your competitors' best ads, right? So I probably could have done a better job with this headline, but honestly, I was getting a little burned out with all the examples for putting together these funnel templates. So of course, these are some other results that other people might find of value. And this is how I really like going through the copy process. Take a formula, just list out everything under the sun that might work, and then worry about grammar, spelling, and whether or not it's actually in the product or directly related to the product. And we'll skip the video for now and jump into the interest building bullet points. That is a lot of B's there. Okay. So what you want to do here is just make it really clear what's included in the offer. This is very similar to how you would write bullet points for your sales page. And so jumping back into our sales funnel organizer here, here's a list of some bullet point formulas you can use and how they wound up turning out for a Facebook ads library or swipe file. Now, you'll notice that these are very similar to the types of bullet points you would use on your sales page, and even the exact same I sometimes use on my landing pages, right? So I'll link up in the cards in the description to a full-blown video on everything copywriting, includes lots more bullet points just like this one. And I can honestly tell you that I have a funnel where I use these 3 bullet points for the landing page, for the sales page, and for one of the upsells, and all 3 convert. And so that just goes to show you that it's important that you focus in on what you're filling in inside of these bullet points, not necessarily the formulas themselves. As long as you're clearly communicating the benefits and results that you can break roadblocks for your ideal customer across your entire funnel, they're not going to care that you're using the same copywriting technique over and over again. And for me, done is better than perfect. You can always go back later and be more creative with your bullets after you're getting a couple of sales. It's much better to look and say, you know, I think I could get more sales if I didn't use the same 3 bullet points from that video, as opposed to, wow, I still haven't finished my funnel because I can't come up with new bullet points, right? So, all right, I'll get off that. Let's go ahead and jump into driving action. So now something that's a little different here is, unlike the other calls to action buttons we've had across all of our funnel pages, we have to create a rejection button as well. So in this example, you can see here we have a button for them to accept the offer, and then we have a link for them not to accept the offer. Also, you do need to include the pricing here, right? So underneath the button, clearly state whatever the pricing structure is. And this is just to help us not get in trouble with credit card companies and, you know, come across like a scammer or spammer. And you can be a little tongue-in-cheek when it comes to the rejection button. So here, I like to have something like, no thanks, I already have an awesome funnel already. Or you could just say, no thanks, I'm good on my own. I just like to have a little fun with it. I don't have any data to suggest whether or not it increases conversions if you force someone to click a button that says, no, I already have all the results that this cool, awesome, discounted, oh my gosh, cool, awesome discounted offer already has. But hey, you might as well have a little bit of fun with it. So that does it for all of the text elements on the page. Now let's quickly talk about the video. And I do recommend having a video here. This video is going to be 3 minutes tops, right? We need to make it really, really short. And we're going to be using something called the PSA framework, or Problem, Agitate, Solve. And this is a framework I really like using for ads. And since your upsell is pretty much a really fast ad, we might as well use the same formula. And so our video is going to introduce a new problem, agitate the consequences of inaction, and then reveal a simple solution. And of course, the simple solution is your upsell offer. So jumping over to our sales funnel organizer here, here is the complete layout of how you would write this 3-minute video. So you start with a confirmation. That's not part of the PSA framework. That's just for the upsell. And you want to congratulate them on taking action and let them know they're a few moments away from achieving the results that were talked about in your sales messages, right? So reaffirm their decision to purchase. And then we transition into, that being said, I know for a fact there's some really savvy business owners out there, really go-getter, workout enthusiasts who want to take it a step further, take it to the next level. And so this is how we bridge that gap between you've solved your problems and opening up another problem, right? So we need to completely close the problem that was talked about in our main offer, our main sales message, so that people take this offer seriously and they don't feel like they just got baited and switched, right? Because the last thing we want to do is someone watching this video and go, wait, didn't I just buy a product to do all this? Why isn't this included in that, right? That's going to hurt our conversion rates ultimately. So once we bridge that gap, we can introduce the new problem. You really want to achieve this result, overcome this roadblock, and then of course you're going to move into agitating it. And you're going to show them that if they don't start trying to achieve these results now, or if they don't deal with the next problem they have, or a problem related to, whatever the main offer is, that things can get worse. So essentially we want to show you need to take care of this, start taking care of this right now, because if you don't, it's going to be much harder in the future, or it's going to be impossible in the future. Obviously, don't make stuff up. So then we move into solving the problem. And so then we introduce our upsell offer, and then we tell them to take action on it. And so this video altogether is going to be 3 minutes, maybe 3.5 minutes if you take a little long on your confirmation, right? But the point is that this video is supposed to be really, really short and sweet, and you don't need to go through the usual rapport and goodwill building that you've done in other parts of your funnel because they've already purchased, right? So this is a quick little elevator pitch for another offer that's going to add value to their lives. So let's go ahead and jump over into Systemi.io here for our upsell creation. Now, if you copy the template linked up below, when you look at it in your own account, you'll see that the upsells are actually under non-funnel steps. So these are steps that you can click and drag up optionally, right? So we'll go ahead and take our upsell and we will click it right after our checkout page. And then we'll take upsell 2 and put it after our checkout page. So if you want to create your own upsell or a new one, you can go and click create step. And then you'll just need to come down to sales, click on upsell, and then go through their template. So they have a lot of great templates, or you can go ahead, if you want another upsell, you can just duplicate one of these upsell templates that we have for you. So either way, you have to use the upsell template. How many times am I going to say that? Upsell. And then it needs to come right after your checkout. And so Systemi.io knows if an upsell comes after the checkout, then that should be treated as an upsell. So I'll go ahead and click on page 2 here. You'll set up your pricing plans and resources, very similar to what you would do with your checkout form and your checkout page. And so we'll go ahead and click to edit our upsell page here. And it's exact same process as building out all your other pages. We have 2 buttons here, one if it's a subscription, and then one if it is not. So let's say we're doing a subscription this time. So we'll go ahead and delete that. And of course, the reason that I like doing subscriptions and a trial is because we can say join funnel library, today free, or join funnel library free. So we get to put free in there because it's a free trial. Of course, again, please don't trick people. I know you probably, like the rest of us, may have been tricked in the past by one of these where they didn't tell you it was going to be a recurring billing or whatever. But let's not try and get our our merchant account suspended. That's our main goal here after making sales. So when it comes to your upsell, you do need to have 2 specific blocks for this page to actually work inside of Systemi.io. You need to have an acceptance button, and then you need to have an offer decline button. So when we click and drag the offer decline button in here, you'll see that it comes in like this, and you can actually reformat it. So it's just a bunch of text, which is what we've done here. Or you can do what some people like to do on their checkout page or upsell pages here. We'll go ahead and click and drag a new, and we'll go decline offer, and then we can go accept offer. So that's another one that people like to do that I see quite a bit when we're reviewing other people's funnels. So they can either click yes, accept, or no, decline, right? Or you can go ahead and use the format that we have here. So I'm just showing you a couple different options that you have in case you don't like how this looks. So we'll go ahead and remove that because we don't need that. Go ahead and remove, oops, come on. There we go. And we'll remove this last example that we have down here. Okay, so when it comes to actually editing your page, just copy and paste what you need in here. If you don't have an upsell video, you follow this exact same format. Just go ahead and put a picture of whatever your upsell is here instead. And so this is something that we do, especially the upsell offers like $5. Sometimes we won't have a video. We'll just have a picture and 5 bullet points instead of 3. And then of course a link to join. And so that's it for our template. And then we'll go ahead and save our changes and then go ahead and exit. And you'll still need to come down here to pricing plans. So you'll need to set up the pricing plan you want for this particular upsell. You'll of course need to connect the resources as well. And you'll of course need to make sure that if you want to do email automations, you set up your automation rules here as well. And you do that for upsell number 1 as well. So upsell 1, upsell 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, probably don't want to do more than 3. Probably don't want to do more than 3, and you'll be good to go. And now you are officially a funnel building champion. So we have all of our funnel pages built. Of course, we are on the home stretch here. Go ahead and comment below to let me know you're still watching. You even made it to this point. I probably said that too many times already. But what we're going to do next is we need to set up our email automations, of course, and then we will go ahead and connect to our setup and connect to our membership site. So again, timestamps below, links to all of the templates that we're working with. Comment below with any of your questions. It's time to set up some automations. Now, when it comes to the types of email sequences that you should make for your sales funnel, there are a lot of different automations you could do, right? But there are really 3 that you should consider starting with. Number 1 is a rapport building sequence. Number 2 is going to be a customer onboarding sequence. And then number 3 is going to be your broadcast sequence. And I think these are really the 3 cornerstones or foundations, if you will. And then after that, you can get complex with your automations after that. But start with these 3. So first up, we have your rapport sequence. Now, all your rapport sequence is designed to do is to bring someone who just signed up for your email list some value in the form of delivering that lead magnet in your sales funnel, and then, of course, driving traffic to your sales page. So that's the main sequence you want to focus on here. Then we create a customer sequence, and this is a 3 to 5 email sequence where someone is encouraged to use the product they just purchased, right? And then, of course, we'll also try and get some testimonials during that process and upsell them on a bigger package offer or service. Finally, you have your broadcast list, which technically isn't part of this whole funnel building process, but we need something to do with all the people who purchased your product and went through all the other sequences, and the majority of the people who didn't purchase your product and already went through your rapport building sequence. So we'll go ahead and kick things off with the rapport sequence, since that's the most important. Now, if you want to skip all the strategy, jump straight into systeme.io. Oh my gosh, I've said that so many times. And then go ahead and here's the timestamp to do that. There we go. So let's go through the rapport sequence strategy now and the 5 emails you should start with. So the whole goal of the sequence is to empathize with your new leads and subscribers' experiences, expand on what they are dealing with, and then of course, energize them to take action. And when we're going to do these 3 things through 5 emails. So the first email we send out is pretty simple and standard. We're just going to deliver the lead magnet that they opted in for. Link in the cards in the description to a video that goes through all the different lead magnet ideas you might want to use. So of course, once we deliver that lead magnet, we have their email address. So we want to drive them to our sales page, which is the whole point of this whole funnel building thing, right? And so the next 4 to 6 emails, you're going to be sending them to your sales page. So each one of these emails we're about to talk about link to the sales page. This is all about your paid offer. So email number 2 in this sequence is going to be the big roadblock that they face. And here we want to empathize with their experiences, their situation, say, hey, you know what? I totally understand that you're dealing with this, you're dealing with that, and you may have tried these other things in the past that haven't worked. And the best way to structure this email is to say, hey, you've tried all these things, you've experienced all these things, and I'm here to tell you that you're succeeding because of an industry myth, or you're exceeding beep. Okay, back on track. they're not succeeding because of an industry myth or a lie that they've been told. So we want to remove the responsibility of their inability to achieve the results that they're looking for. And of course, you're going to present the solution or the better way or the actual way to break through the roadblock and overcome their current experiences. Check out the paid offer, and that's going to be what your link will link to, the paid offer or the sales page, right? Okay, I'm talking over myself. Let's go to email number 3. So for email number 3, it's going to be a hero story of success. So if you have testimonials, you're going to want to go through a story of someone being successful. That's why it's called hero story of success. So it could be your own story. It could be a story of your client. It could be a story of a previous customer, or you could be pointing to someone who's known in your niche or industry and say, hey, this is how I think they achieved the success that they ultimately achieved, right? And so the whole point of this email is to show someone in a similar situation to them was able to achieve those results. And of course, your paid offer, checking out the sales page, is going to help them get there faster, easier, right? So then email number 4 here is going to be benefits are closer than you think. So we've gone through 2 emails where we've been pretty negative, right? We've been talking about how all this stuff is in their way and they might have been lied to, and how there are other people who have found success even in their situation as well. And so now we want to be a little more positive and start really energizing them to take action. And we're going to do this by talking about how the results that they're looking for, or the feelings or startings of the results that they're looking for, are just around the corner. It's not, weeks or months or years away. You know what? The success that they are looking to achieve can start today. Now, obviously, we can't say you're going to get all your results by next week. Just buy this product, right? Because that's pretty much impossible. But what we can say is we can pick out what success looks like at the beginning of that journey and talk about that. We're going to say, you know what, by the end of next week, with running your Facebook ads campaigns, you're not going to be, wasting a bunch of ad spend anymore. Or, you know what, you're going to start to actually see some results around your waistline in, the next couple of weeks, or whatever it might be, right? We're not talking about the big solution or the big problem that they're trying to solve. We're just looking at what can we talk about that's right around the corner to just kind of give them some encouragement, encourage them to actually start taking action and going down that journey that will lead to the ultimate success that they are looking for. And then finally, we're going to go back to negativity, because negativity ultimately sells. And this is going to be magnifying the mess, right? So we're going to talk about the problems of inaction. So we're going to expand on everything that could go wrong if they don't take action now, how much harder it's going to be in the future, or how the opportunity that's in front of them might actually be missed if they don't take advantage of it right now. And that is all there is to it, to creating your rapport sequence. Now, I'll link up in the cards in the description to a video that takes a deeper dive on what to do with your broadcast emails, how to write your emails, and of course, your customer onboarding sequences. For time purposes, because this has been long enough, let's jump back over to systemi.io and actually start building out your automations. So before we get into all the tags you're looking at here, here's a quick diagram of the tags I recommend setting up and how they should be triggered across your funnel. So I'll link up in the description, of course, to our sales funnel playbook that has all of these clearly laid out for you, so you don't have to worry about memorizing them right now. But this is the structure that we're going to use for all of our tags. Now, when it comes to setting up your tags inside of systemi.io, you do have a limit on the free plan. So I don't recommend creating all 7 of these, because you're going to use up way too many of your tags. So I recommend starting with a lead tag, setting up a customer tag, and then setting up a general broadcast list tab. So just set up 3. So to add a new tag, all we need to do is click on add new tag here, and I'll go ahead and give our tag a name. Let's say we're doing general broadcast list. So I'm going to call it GBC, or general broadcast for short. I'm going to say this is demo, and then in the brackets say all. And then I'd go ahead and click on save. I'd add a tag one more time, and I'll go through my naming convention in a bit, because it probably makes no sense right now. And let's say we have FC and we're doing our lead sequence, right? So I recommend coming up with a 3-letter code for your funnel, right? So in this particular instance, we're doing an example. So this is FC, hashtag or pound sign, hashtag pound sign, whatever you want to call it, right? So three letters, And then you use this when you make your funnel pages, when you're organizing your internal files in Google Drive or SkyDrive or Box or Dropbox, whatever you're doing. And so I use this so that every time I make anything for this funnel, I use the same 3-letter code so I know exactly what funnel it's for. As an example, when I reference in the description to our sales funnel playbook, our funnel code for that is SFP. So anytime I see SFP, I know exactly what funnel it's referring to. And then in brackets, I'm going to say lead, right? So we'd go ahead and make lead. And then one more time, we'd go ahead and we would make one for customer. So this is going to, oops, not upsell, customer. So those are the 3 I'd recommend starting with, because those are the 3 that are essential to setting up and running your funnels effectively. You can set up other ones in the future, of course, but when you're using the free plan of Systemi.io, there's no sense in using up all your tags when you don't have to, right? So we'd go ahead and click save. I'll click on exit. And now we're ready to set up our rules. So to set up our rules, we'll come over here to funnels. You can also set up rules and automations, but I just find it easier to use our funnels. So I'll go ahead and use our funnel template here, our demo F62, and we will start on our landing page. So we'll click on automation rules, click on add rule, funnel form step subscribed or page viewed. So we'll say step subscribed, add action, and add a tag. So choose a tag, and we need lead, right? So we'll select lead, and we'll click save rule. So now, every time someone enters their email, name an email or email on our landing page, Systemi.io will tag them as a lead for this funnel. Now we'll get to setting up the automations and workflows in a moment. So we'll just go through the rest of our funnel here. So of course you don't need anything for your thank you page or your sales page, but you do want something for your checkout page, right? So we'll come to automation rules, add rule, new sale. So we'll click on new sale here, and we will add a action. We're going to add a tag. So we need to add customer, right? So this is our customer. We'll click on save rule. I'll come back in here. And then we need to remove a tag. So when someone buys, they should be pulled out of the lead sequence, right? We don't want to keep sending them emails about buying something they already bought, right? So we'll go ahead and remove a tag, and we'll come in here to lead. So we'll remove lead, and we'll click save rule. Nope, come on. Lead. For some reason, it doesn't think I am, because I messed up here. This is supposed to be customer. Add a tag, customer, lead, save rule. Apologize for that, but I don't know how I got that mixed up. That's what happens when you talk and do at the same time. So whatever tag you add on your landing page, if someone buys, it should be taken off on your checkout page. Now, as a little advanced strategy here, we go back, we can also create a shopping cart abandonment sequence. So this is not something you'd set up now, but in the future, you'd click funnel step subscribed, add action, add a tag, and again, link in the description of the playbook that has all the lists of tags out here, abandon, and click save rule. So you can actually set up a separate sequence. If someone goes to your checkout page, they start the checkout process, and then for whatever reason, they just stop, right? They don't finish. Life happens, right? They got distracted, their computer died, the coffee shop closed, whatever it was, right? And so you can set up a special sequence just for those people because you know they were about to buy, right? So that's something that you can do. And if you do set up that special sequence, then we'd come over here, add action, remove tag, and I'm going to stop typing in because it just doesn't like that. We'll say abandon, right? And so this way, anytime someone purchases, we tag them as a customer and we remove their abandonment tag and their lead tag. I wish it was in the same order. That's a little confusing. Now, I'll quickly go through upsells, right? So if you have any upsells, however many upsells you have, we'll come here to automation rules again, add a rule, and we'll just say new sale. And we'll click action, add a tag, and we'll go ahead and call it FA demo up 1, save rule. And one more time for good measure. Hopefully you're not getting too bored with this. New sale, add action, add a tag, and upsell 2, save rule. So that way, anytime someone takes any action inside of our funnel, they are tagged or a tag is removed. Now, you do have the option when you add an action, you can send a specific email, you can enroll them in a course, and you can also use campaigns. I just personally like using tags because tags allow you to have a lot more control over how people interact with your different sequences and funnels. Although there are some other great tutorials here on YouTube that say just use the campaign. And if you're only gonna have a couple funnels, that's probably fine. But I like spacing things out as if we're just gonna have a massively successful wild business there. Okay, anyway, that was completely useless, and I'm just talking over myself now. So now that we have all our tags set up, we have our rules, now it's time to create our automations, make sure our emails actually go out. So we'll come over here to automations and we'll click on workflows. So we'll create a new workflow. I'm going to name our workflows after our tag. So pretty much each tag is going to have some sort of workflow. So we'll go ahead and click on create here, and then we can come into edit it. And we need to tell Systemi.io when do we start this workflow. So we'll create our first trigger, and our first trigger is going to be on a tag. So we'll add a tag here, and of course it's going to be lead, and we'll click on create, and there is our tag. So if we wanted to use this sequence for more than one funnel, and we had multiple funnel tags, well then we could just come in here, tag added, and say when someone is added like this, gets this tag, they should also be added to this sequence. So I'll go ahead and X that out. So I like automations because it gives you a lot of control, and they're kind of fun to play with. All right, maybe that's just me as a marketing geek. So the next thing we need to do is immediately send them their lead magnet, right? They just opted in on a landing page, give them what they asked for, right? So we'll go ahead and have an action, and we are going to send an email. Now you can click from your drop-down list here, or you can create a new one. So I'm going to select from this drop-down, I'll click choose and edit. And then here is where you're going to be able to edit your email. So I'm a huge fan of using plain text emails. And if you want to use the editors, you have the ability to do that. I'll show you what that might look like in a moment. So we have our subject line. You can of course include substitutes here, where if you collected extra information for some reason, you can include that in your email. Again, when it comes to landing pages, just less is more. Just collect their email, and you can always start the email just hey, right? So this is going to be the message that we deliver our lead magnet in. And you can actually add it as an attachment. So you can go ahead and just upload your PDF or whatever the file is right here. Or if you're using Google Docs or Google Slides or spreadsheets or whatever, you can also just go ahead and hyperlink. So if we wanted to hyperlink, let's say this was going to be our link here, we'd go ahead and highlight that. And then we could go and click on this link element and then tell Systemi.io where you want it to go. So we'll go ahead and click on cancel there, and we'll go ahead and save and exit. Then we need to add a delay, right? So this is going to be where we start setting up the rest of our rapport sequence. So we'll go and click on here, and we'll just select delay, 1 days, and click on create. Then we can go select again, action. Don't worry, I'm only going to do this twice. You're going to get real bored of this real quick. Send an email, and let's go ahead and create a new one this time. So we'll create a new one, and we'll say break the roadblock, which is what we ultimately are trying to do here. So I'm just going to call this F62, so I know this was a demo in the future. And then of course we could go ahead and drop in our text. So let's say we have all this text. We'll just go ahead and drop this in as an example. And then of course we don't want it bold. And just go ahead and edit all of the formatting as you see fit. Go ahead and drop in your links. Make sure that you test your links. You can also send test emails as well. So you just want to make sure that you test all your emails before they go out. So I did misspeak earlier. The disadvantage of doing things this way is they do need to be plain text emails, although I'm a huge fan of using plain text emails as opposed to the editor. So we'll go ahead and click on save here. And then of course we're going to need to add another delay for 1 day. So I'll go ahead and through the magic of editing, all of our emails are all set, good to go. So we'll go ahead and click on the blue plus button here, and we will add an action and apply a tag. So this is what's going to happen at the end of our sequence. We want to apply them the general broadcast tag. And so we click on create. So this way, when we're sending out our broadcast emails, we just click the broadcast tag, and everyone who's on our broadcast list gets the email, right? And this also makes sure that you aren't sending broadcast emails to people who just joined your email list and are currently going through a rapport building sequence, because we don't want to distract from the sales process that we've started. Of course, you can actually get pretty ninja where you start taking people on and off the broadcast sequence, but that's a video and guide for another day. So we'll go ahead and exit here because it automatically saved. And we need to create one more sequence. So I'll quickly go through the customer onboarding sequence because we need to add and remove tags. So we'll go ahead and call it customer, click on create, and then we'll go ahead and jump in here to edit it. Now the trigger, of course, we're still going to add a tag, and then we need to say that when someone is tagged as a customer, this sequence should start. But then we also, and this is just as a double check, right? It's not going to hurt you. But action, we also want to remove a tag. And so we're going to remove the lead tag. And one of the main reasons that you want to do this is just in case you forget to do something somewhere else, you kind of have this backup, right? So even if you forget to set it up properly in your funnel, or you make a new funnel, because every time you duplicate a funnel, the automations go away and you have to set them all up all over again. Even when that happens, you now have the security here of removing this tag. And of course, if you were using multiple funnels for one product, you could just go ahead and removing multiple lead tags to make sure no one is tagged incorrectly. And then of course, you'd go through the exact same process we just went through when it came to setting up your rapport sequence. So I'll just go ahead and click on exit. And with that, our funnel is 100% good to go. We're done. We're done with the funnel. So we can come back to our dashboard. It's time to, of course, start driving traffic to it. Oh, wait, nope. One more thing, we need to make our membership site. So this is going to be, of course, the last section here. Of course, you can see the timestamps. You're like, oh, yeah, I've been here for over an hour now. So now what we're going to do is set up your membership site, go through some of those settings and course bundles and all that fun stuff to wrap up your funnel build. Now, when it comes to creating membership websites, there are a ton of different ideas out there, right? So links in the cards and the description to a video that goes through a lot of these ideas. Let's go ahead and rapid fire through 6. Number 1, you could create a membership site for your digital products. Even if you're just selling a template, a worksheet, or a workbook, or an ebook, you can create a central location that people can come back to get future updates. And nobody likes digging through their email, trying to find stuff. So it gives people an easy location to come back and find what they've paid for. Number 2, of course, is going to be an online course. I think that's pretty self-explanatory. And number 3, again, with helping people not dig through their email, is to create a newsletter archive. So if you have any sort of newsletter, then this could be a bonus, or you could offer this as an upsell where people can come to the membership site and find your previous newsletters. Because again, nobody really likes digging through their email. So these last 3, number 1, you could create an archive for your Ask Me Anything. If you create some sort of mastermind or place where people jump on and ask you questions, this could be an easy place to store all of those archived webcasts. Number 2, you could create a client portal. Or number 3, you could use it as a lead magnet, right? Sky's the limit. So again, link in the cards in the description to a video that goes through all different types of ideas. So jumping into Systemi.io here, we're going to go to products and sales, and we are going to click on courses. Now you see here, I have a couple of demos. We'll get to those in a moment. And so to create a new course, we'll come up here, click on add new course. We'll give it a name. Let's say Facebook ads swipe file, say 2.0, right? Everybody wants 2.0. And then for our description, we'll go ahead and use the unique selling proposition or elevator pitch for our offer. And the reason we want to do it this way is you can actually have your courses that haven't been purchased show up in someone's member area. So they'll mouse over and they'll try and see what the description is. And this is essentially to entice them to click to your sales page. More on that in a little bit here. So we also have our domain settings. You can come up here to settings inside of your account to set up your custom domain, and then theme. Now, really, I'm not a huge fan of how the colors work out. I really wish we could just pick our own colors, but for now, we're stuck with the colors they have. I'll choose purple so it's really clear what the color scheme means. For our font, I'll just go ahead and choose the same font we use throughout all of our funnels and for our demos here. And then for our instructor name, I'll just go ahead and put my first name there. Choose your logo. I'll go ahead and choose a product image. Of course, you can go ahead and click and drag and format it. I'll just leave it like this since it's a terrible example. Then we have our HTML code. So if you have Tag Manager, Analytics, Facebook Pixel, Google Ads tag, that can be dropped in here so you can track how people interact with your content on your site. Of course, we're going to want to show the module title for students, so it's really easy for people to know what they're clicking on. And then sales page. So this is actually really important. So for our sales page, I'm going to come down to our demo here, and then I'll click on our sales page. So this way, if someone wants to learn more about this particular membership site and they haven't purchased it yet, when they click to learn more, they'll be taken directly to this sales page, which is pretty cool. So we'll go ahead and click on save here. And now we have our new course. So let's go ahead and set up our modules. So to add a module, we just click add module, give it a name, click on save. Then we can go ahead and add another module here. Let's say we're going to call this video. And then we'll make one more module for Instagram, right? So Facebook ads, and then we'll do Instagram. There we go. So let's say we have our 3 modules. And then to add a lecture to it, all you need to do is click on add lecture and then choose a template. Now the template isn't really a big deal, so we'll just go ahead and choose the video and call this intro. And then if you want this to drip out, so you don't want someone who just purchased to immediately have access, you can add in the number of days. So let's say for whatever reason, they have to wait a day to see this. So we can go ahead and put 1 for our day. Well, actually, this is an introduction, so let's put it at 0. We'll go ahead and click on save, and it will automatically open up the editor. Now, when it comes to editing what you see here, it's the exact same as building out your funnel. So we won't spend a bunch of time going through how to actually edit this page in particular, but I do want to point out a couple of things. So number 1 here is with this video, you can actually upload a file. So you can actually upload your course content directly to systemi.io, which is huge, especially considering their pricing. So most other membership softwares out there, they charge a lot per year and month simply because they're hosting your videos. So you don't have to pay for Wistia or Vimeo to host your stuff. You can just go ahead and upload your videos directly here, and they have a player that will actually play your videos. So that's huge, especially if you're still on the fence about whether or not to use Systemi. You definitely want to make sure that whatever you're comparing it to also hosts the videos for you, because this is a huge cost saver. Now, the second thing to point out when creating your course is, of course, making sure that it's easy for people to download your course downloads. So we'll go ahead and use a button. Let's drop it underneath our summary text here. And for the destination URL, we will say open in a new window, and we'll put the URL of whatever our PDF, Word doc, Google Slides, Google Sheets, or Excel file, whatever we want to put here. So the way we like to do it is we create this folder for our particular course, and we put all of the content for that course in the folder. And then when we right click, we click Get Link, and we set the link to anyone. So anyone with a link can access. We'll click on Done, and then I'll come back over to our editor. I'll drop in that link here, and we'll save changes. And that way, when someone clicks this link, they will automatically be taken to this file. And if you're doing anything with Google Doc, anything with Google Drive, then they can go ahead and make a copy for themselves directly into their own Google Drive. So I'll show you how we also include instructions for that. And actually to do that, so we'll come here, you'll see that it says USP sharing. We'll go ahead and change this. Whoops, we don't want it to say edit. Come on, there we go. We'll say copy. So you just change it to copy at the end. That way when someone clicks on it and they don't have share access, there will be a page that pops up that tells them they have to copy it. So it cuts down a lot of requests to edit. So we'll go and click on Save Changes here. And as you go through editing all of this, make sure that you get this design pretty much what you want all of your modules to look like. In fact, I recommend going through and making a template for yourself. So let's say this was perfect. This represents all of the lectures we want to make, right? So we go up here to click on save, and that way we can go ahead and duplicate, and we have a copy with the exact same outline, because you can click and drag these to different modules. Okay, there we go. Open up, and then we click and drag. There we go. Magic of editing. There we click and drag to other modules. And with your lectures, you can't move elements between different lectures. So to help you with copying, pasting, or doing the same formatting over again, format one, get it right, and then just go ahead and duplicate it so that you can click and drag it to your other modules. And of course, all of your lectures have a standard look to them. So that's all there is to it, to setting up that course, and of course, setting up the lectures. So now let's go ahead and preview it, right? So what does it look like as a student? So as a student, this is what it looks like. So this is the purple color. You might like it, you might hate it. I'm not really a fan. And then here's the link we set up that when someone clicks, you'll see, would you like to make a copy? And so now someone has to make a copy in order to get access to this particular Google Doc. It'll save you a lot of headache with people confused why they can't edit something. And so we'll go ahead and click on our logo up here. You can see this is the logo that we set up. And this will take people back to the main course dashboard. So you can see we have our little description here. And let's go ahead and go into another example where this is using the green. And then if we click on our foundations, you'll see this is the format we like to use for digital products. And you can just make a quick screenshot showing people that this is what it's going to look like when they click that copy link. And so when they click make a copy, they will have it put a copy of it directly into their Google Drive. And so that way you don't get any of those share requests, and just make a little graphic like this, and everyone, for the most part, is good to go. So the same thing happens here. If you click on this, it of course would give a share link. So instead of opening up like this. So when it comes to your membership site, this is what it's going to look like for your course students. Now you may be wondering, why am I still seeing all of this stuff? And so this is a plus or minus. Teachable does this kind of thing too, where if someone signs up for one of your courses and they also have a Systemi.io account, or they create one in the future, then when they log into your school, they're going to see all of their Systemi.io options as well. And they're also going to be able to access their account. So that might be a pro, that might be a con, depending upon your niche or industry. It may or may not matter. So just be aware, something isn't broken. This is only going to show up if someone also has a Systemi.io account. And so that does it for our preview. So we'll come back over here. And of course, now we need to make sure that people get access to it when they purchase, right? So we'll go ahead and click on funnels here, and we'll go into our funnel demo. I'll go to our checkout page, and on our checkout page, we've set up some pricing plans, but we need to set up resources. So we'll go ahead and click on resources here, click resource, we'll select course. Our course will be the Facebook Ads Swipe File 2.0, and we'll give them full access. And then, of course, we need to make sure that we click on Save. Now, something that's interesting here, see, now that I click Save, it went away. So let's do this real quick so you can see the full access. And of course, select, not course bundle, course, and let's say demo, full access. There we go. You can also set an expiration. So you can give someone could pay for X number of days access to your membership website. So that's also an option. Obviously, make it really clear that they're paying for a specific time frame of access, because most people, when they purchase any sort of membership or digital product, unless it's a monthly fee, they're assuming that they're getting lifetime access. So we'll go ahead and delete that. You do need to make sure you hit that save button whenever you change resources. If you created an order bump, then you also need to make sure that you set up the resources for the order bump as well. And of course, with your upsells, you need to go to step configuration, and also set up any resources that the person who purchases that upsell should get access to. And so now you have your membership site, it's connected to your funnel. real quick, right before we wrap up here, you can click on course bundles and you can come here and create a bundle of different courses together. And so we can go ahead and click on, oops, we already created one. So I'll just call this bundle, and then you can just add a course and choose which courses you want to add to these bundles. And you can edit these bundles even after they've been set up inside of a funnel. And with that, you are finally done. I should say we are finally done. This is probably the longest video I've ever made for YouTube. Wow. So thank you so much for watching. I sincerely hope you have everything you need to get your funnel up and running for free. The link's in the description. You can grab a copy of all the funnel templates that we went through. The sales funnel playbook has all of the automations listed out and has some of the diagrams to help you with your copywriting. If you do decide to upgrade in the future, we receive a commission as a way to support this channel. Wow, this is a long one. So you are an absolute champion. Thank you so much for watching. Hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and you know what to do. Until the next, keep building the business you love.